I'll be honest, the first time I tried to upgrade from my old entry-level mirrorless, I went for the cheapest full-frame I could find on a flash sale site. Within a week the autofocus missed half my street photography subjects, the videos looked jittery, and the battery died before I even left the park. That regret is what makes me pause every time I see a headline promising professional quality for under $2,000. So, does the Sony Alpha 7V feel like a smarter buy, or is it just another pricey hype machine? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What sets the Alpha 7V apart is how it tackles the two biggest pain points I've seen in other full-frame options: focus reliability when the subject moves unpredictably, and the ability to keep shooting at high frame rates without the dreaded blackout between frames. The camera's new BIONZXR2 processor works hand-in-hand with a 33-megapixel stacked XMirrorless sensor, and the result is a system that can track a runner's face, a bird's wing, or a child's hand-drawn sign with almost no hunting. In my own test runs at a weekend soccer match, the AI-driven autofocus locked onto the players as they weaved through the field, and even when the lighting dropped to the stadium's dimming floodlights, the focus held steady. That's a real-world win you don't get from the budget full-frames that still rely on older contrast detect methods. Stabilization is another arena where the Alpha 7V earns its keep. Sony has combined a gyro-based optical stabilization unit with sophisticated algorithms inside the BIONZXR2, delivering up to 5.5 stops of shake reduction. I took the camera out for a handheld walkthrough of a historic downtown at twilight, using a 35mm f/1.8 prime. The footage stayed smooth enough that I could edit a single continuous clip without inserting any artificial stabilization in post. For creators who need run-and-gun video, think vloggers covering a city festival or wedding assistants capturing ceremony moments, this means you can trust the body to keep things steady, even when you're moving around a lot. Now, the camera isn't just about tech specs, it's about how those specs translate into everyday workflow. The menu system on the Alpha 7V is still Sony-style deep, layered, and a bit intimidating at first glance. However, Sony has introduced a My Menu shortcut that lets you pin the most used settings, like ISO, AF mode, and IAF toggle, right at the top of the screen. After a short learning curve, I found myself toggling between stills and video mode without diving into submenus. If you're a hobbyist who's already comfortable with Sony's ecosystem, that shortcut cuts down the friction dramatically. For absolute beginners, though, the learning curve may still feel steep compared to mirrorless rivals that boast a more stripped-down interface. Battery life on the Alpha 7V is respectable. With the NPFZ100 cell, I got roughly 650 shots in a mixed shooting day that included a few bursts of 30 frames per second blackout-free shooting and an hour of video. That number holds up even after a few weeks of regular use, which is reassuring for travel photographers who can't afford to be tethered to a charger. It's not an endless marathon, but it's a noticeable step up from older models that struggled to pass the 400-shot mark. So, who should consider pulling the trigger on this camera? If you're a serious hobbyist or a working creator who already owns a few Sony mount lenses, the Alpha 7V is a compelling upgrade. Its AI autofocus shines when you're dealing with unpredictable motion, think wildlife, sports, or kids at play. The blackout-free 30 frames per second burst mode gives you the freedom to capture decisive moments without missing a beat, a feature that cheaper full frames simply can't match. The robust in-body stabilization also means you can shoot handheld video with confidence, cutting down on rig weight and the need for external gimbals. On the other hand, if you're just stepping into full frame and your budget is tight, the Alpha 7V may feel like overkill. Its price point sits above the entry-level models, and the menu complexity can be a hurdle if you're not already familiar with Sony's system. For those who primarily shoot static subjects, landscapes, still life, or studio portraits, there are older Sony bodies that deliver excellent image quality at a lower cost, albeit without the latest AI focus and blackout-free burst. Practical strengths are clear. The autofocus is fast, reliable, and works well in low light thanks to the sensor's high-speed circuitry. The 5-axis IBIS lets you handhold longer video takes, and the battery endurance is solid for a full frame. Weaknesses are more about ergonomics than performance. The grip, while functional, can feel a bit narrow for users with larger hands, and the menu depth means you'll spend some time customizing it before it feels truly intuitive. Also, the body-only bundle means you'll need to invest in lenses separately, which adds to the overall cost if you're starting from scratch. In real-world scenarios, the Alpha 7V shines when you need speed and reliability. I used it for a weekend street photography sprint in a rain-soaked city, and the AI-focused IAF kept faces crisp despite the drizzle and low light.